Welcome back to the Gee Ursula Show. As we have been reporting, the football coach at Lincoln High School in Seattle resigned last Friday, citing safety concerns for his players. Now that Lincoln is moving into a different division, is going to be matched up against powerhouse teams like O'Dea and Eastside Catholic. Gee and I had a spirited debate about this yesterday, and we were both kind of tough on Coach Aaron Hart, and we have invited the coach to join us now on the show. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's get right into it. Explain to our listeners why you resigned and why you thought that was the best way to make your message.
Well, I think it's the best way to make my message. I'm on your show right now, right? I mean, I think if I would have stuck it out through the season, there would have been nothing highlighted on this, much like there was Roosevelt last year. Roosevelt got beat up pretty bad, and with blowouts every almost every week, and it is a similar team to us. So, you know, in talking to their coach and the injuries that they've dealt with, and you know the morale and kids leaving the team, and it was. I mean, it was a decent, you know, it was a well-coached team, so it wasn't about coaching. It was about, you know, the type of players we have compared to these powerhouse teams, like you said.
Hey, Coach, does blowouts automatically mean injury? I see that you guys beat Cleveland 56-0, and you guys beat Chief Sealth 49-7. Was Chief Sealth and Cleveland more injured than the other games that you guys played?
So something to know about us: we are always the smallest team on the field, even against teams like that. And those wins, Cleveland as an example, they had similar losses even to Chief Sealth. They had similar losses to everybody. In fact, Ingram and Franklin beat them almost exactly the same amount as we did. And I don't agree. I don't disagree with you that we shouldn't be playing Cleveland. There was equity in the three-tier system where we would play more like teams and not play a team like Cleveland until they built up their program and were ready to play us.
So, but the answer to the question about the injury, how was when you guys beat Cleveland 56-0 and you beat Chief Sealth 49-7, was Cleveland and Chief Sealth, did they get injured? But is it
Yes.
They did?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they got injured. They got injured against Franklin. I watched those games. They should have a third-tiered system where they are playing more like competition. And the other thing with the three-tier system, it's funny, a parent of ours put this together, MetroFootballDivisions.com. It gives a comparison, and, you know, it's just they have more equity, right? So they have a few less games in league, right? So they're playing those more like competitions, but then they can also go out of league and schedule similar competition to build up their team.
Coach Hart, you've mentioned the three-tier system, and that's something we didn't bring up yesterday. So could you explain that briefly and how that would be more equitable? Yeah,
so previously to last year, Metro was run in football on a three-tier system, right? So there was like O'Dea and Eastside Catholic and Seattle Prep, they were all in the top tier. Middle tier, like as an example, last year, the middle tier should have been probably Blanchette. It should have been us. It should have been Roosevelt, probably Franklin and Ingram. You know, so we were very alike. As an example, like Franklin, we lost. It was a three-way tiebreaker for us to even win our division last year. And in fact, if you look at Metro's website, we didn't even win it. And we've got more losses than Franklin and Ingram. So there was just more equity in that three-tier system. And then when it got changed, it was done in a vacuum between Monty Kohler, who's got a complete conflict of interest, being a head coach and running football in our league, and Pat McCarthy, who's the district AD.
And so just so, again, our listeners would understand, so this decision was made not in conjunction or in coordination with other coaches, but essentially those two made the decision that affects the entire league?
Correct. Coaches are never consulted, and as far as I know, I'm aware, the ADs weren't even consulted about that move.
So now, Coach, that you've resigned from the football team because of all of this, what is the message that what is this message do you think is going to do for your team and those players that you are no longer going to be the coach for?
I've met with my players several times, and I think that they're starting to get it, right? And they're starting to get the larger picture of why this is necessary. Again, I was on your show. I'm on your show today. I was on the show yesterday. All of these things, and it's highlighting this inequity that's happening. And this inequity isn't just with Lincoln; it affects Cleveland, like we were talking about a minute ago with us playing them. It affects Chief Sealth. It affects Roosevelt. It affects all of these teams. And it's just, because I don't think there's half these teams that are not poorly coached, right? They're just put in a poor position in order to build their programs the right way.
Coach, I'm going to tell you right now that in terms of how the divisions are, I agree with you. And frankly, Gee and I had this big debate over, I think that private schools should play separately and public schools should play separately because they're playing under different rules, or the rules change so that they apply, that they're the same for all teams. That all said, the biggest issue I had was your decision to quit because your team will still have to play in this league that they don't want to play in. And so my concern was the message. But I've got to tell you, Coach, we got inundated with emails and letters from people and in support of you, talking about how much you changed their lives, how they were supportive of your decision to resign in protest of this, and wanting to make sure that that your message came across. And you should feel, I would imagine, pretty heartened to see how people have come in support of you.
I feel both ways, right? I mean, I'm deeply upset that I'm not there. I do think that I made the right decision because, again, I'm highlighting this and trying to make this better for our communities. But yeah, I'm so proud of our kids and our families, and we have such a great community, and I love them to death. And anybody that knows me, because I've heard, I don't listen to things and I try not to read things, but I know people are thinking like he's worried about wins and losses. He's worried about all this other stuff and it's competitive. Anybody that knows me knows that's complete, utter garbage. I mean, what it's taken to build Lincoln with no fields, the tiniest weight room in the state, not well-funded equipment to begin with, all of these things that we've had to overcome. We didn't get locker rooms. We started in 2019. We didn't get locker rooms till midway through this season. We were getting dressed out of metal containers, all these years. So it's just like, I don't give up. I'm doing the opposite, and I'm going to take this to people and make sure that it's heard.
So you're not going to be coaching for Lincoln. Can we expect you to coach somewhere else within the next year or two?
That's a good question. I'm not sure yet. I've had people reach out to me, and honestly, it's so late in the cycle with head coaching positions. I don't know. I mean, I'm still got a glimmer of hope that something changes and the district would even let me back. I'd coach at Lincoln, but I think, yes, I think I will coach again. I just love it too much, and I love being around the kids.
Wait. So you said there's a glimmer of hope. So wait. Well, you would actually go back to coaching Lincoln if there was a decision that was different? You would go back if they changed something?
Why wouldn't I? It's if they would allow me back. I don't even know if they would, but I love that team, right? I mean, I think that they would welcome me back. The team would. It's whether the district and the administration would. Mm. But I won't go back unless it's changed. I mean, because I think that would set the wrong. That would send the wrong message.
But the players that you were coach of, they will have to stay and play no matter what. But you're going to leave only if a decision isn't the way you want it to be.
And it's not what I want it to be. It's what it should be. It's what the community thinks. It's what Roosevelt's community thinks. It's like there's a number of communities out there that think this, right? And hey, if it's, and again, I don't know whether they would even allow me back to do it. Mm.
Aaron Hart, appreciate you joining us. These are difficult conversations, and I know for sure that you do have a lot of support within your team and the community, and the concern about safety is a real one. And we can debate whether how you brought about that message was right or wrong, but I just want to say again, you have great support from your community. Thank you.